A 14-year-old British Army rifle is being pulled out of armories this year and sent back with a suppressor bolted to the front of it, a part it has never had in its entire service life. 300 miles away, Royal Marine sharpshooters have already swapped their cartridge for one most of them had never fired before 2023. In Germany, soldiers are being handed a rifle with a metal body where the old one used to be plastic. None of these are weapons procurement officers reacting to a new tank. None of them are reacting to a new missile. They are reacting to a drone that costs less than a decent laptop and can spot a soldier's muzzle flash from 2 kilometers out. Here's a number worth sitting with before this video goes any further. In Ukraine, somewhere between 70 and 80% of documented battlefield casualties are now caused by drones. Russia's own military medical journal, surveying more than 6,000 of its wounded, put rifles, small arms fire, the actual subject of this video, at roughly 4%. So this isn't a video about drones killing soldiers with rifles. It's a video about something genuinely strange. Why 3 separate NATO armies are rewriting their rifle specifications because of a weapon that, by the numbers, barely touches the rifle at all. The barrel length, the cartridge, the one accessory that used to be optional and is now, in some armies, mandatory. And underneath all of it, a lesson about how slowly militaries actually move. Even on the one occasion the battlefield changes overnight. To understand what's happening to rifle procurement, you need the specific version of what drones did to infantry combat in Ukraine, not the headline version. For most of the 20th century, an infantry section operated on one working assumption. If you weren't directly seen, you were reasonably safe. Cover and concealment did their job. A soldier behind a wall, in a tree line, inside a building, stayed invisible unless someone physically walked into visual range of him. Cheap FPV drones broke that assumption completely. A reconnaissance quadcopter costing a few $100s can now loiter overhead, pick out a muzzle flash or a heat signature or simple movement, and pass the exact coordinates to an artillery battery or a strike drone within minutes. That's the actual mechanism behind the casualty split from the cold open. Drones aren't mostly killing soldiers themselves through direct engagement. They're finding soldiers, then calling in something else to finish the job, which changes the maths of every single contact for the rifleman on the ground. The old question was simple: can I hit my target? The new one is harder. Can I fire without telling a sensor I can't see and can't hear exactly where I'm standing? That second question is the one rewriting rifle specifications across NATO. Not what the rifle can kill, what firing it gives away. In August 2021, 6 months before the full-scale invasion, almost 2 years before FPV drones became a household term, the British Ministry of Defence published the outline technical requirement for a new rifle system for its Ranger Regiment and Royal Marines Commandos. The requirement didn't ask for a rifle with an optional suppressor. It asked for what the document itself called a rifle system, a weapon plus a signature reduction system specified together from the first line of the tender. The suppressor wasn't an accessory to be considered later. It was a design constraint from day one. That program became the alternative individual weapon, the L403A1. The platform selected, Knights Armaments KS-1, ships with an integrated suppressor engineered specifically to manage back pressure while cutting sound and visible signature. £90 million, up to 10,000 rifles over 10 years. Worth being honest about, that requirement predates the drone-saturated phase of this war by a wide margin. Nobody wrote it because of FPV drones. What happened next is the part that matters. As the war intensified through 2023 and into 2024, the Army didn't quietly retire the suppressor requirement to a small Special Forces niche where it started. It pushed it outward, into a part of the force that had never had one at all. The L129A1 sharpshooter, the Army's designated marksman rifle since 2010, had spent 14 years in service without a factory suppressor. In July 2024, the Ministry of Defence signed a £20 million contract to convert the entire fleet. What came back is the L129A2, a Hux-Wax quick-detach suppressor fitted as standard on the Army's main precision rifle. Not a battlefield improvisation anymore, not an elite unit curiosity, baseline kit. In 2021, a suppressed rifle meant Rangers. By 2024, it meant the rest of the Army too. A suppressor solves half the signature problem, sound and flash. It does nothing for the other half, distance. Being seen is only the first problem on a transparent battlefield. The second is needing to engage at a range that keeps you outside the kill radius of whatever that observation calls in. 400 to 600 meters, NATO's own doctrinal gap between a standard rifle and a dedicated sniper rifle, has stopped being the exception infantry occasionally faces and started being the range. Bracket dispersed sections are actually fighting in. The L129. A2 conversion answers this directly. Alongside the suppressor, the upgrade swaps the barrel to 6.5 Creedmoor, already proven in American precision shooting circles years earlier, now repurposed for an entirely different job. The cartridge's flatter trajectory adds roughly 200 meters of effective performance over the 7.62 by 51mm NATO round it partly replaces. Pair that with the Leupold scope, the ballistic calculator, and the thermal sight the Royal Marines version carries, and you have a rifle no longer built for one specialist per platoon. It's standard kit for every designated marksman in the unit. Germany's version of the same instinct looks different on paper, but solves the same problem. The Bundeswehr's new G95, built on the HK416 platform, replaced the plastic-bodied G36, a rifle that had been documented losing its zero once the barrel housing heated under sustained fire. The G95 swaps that housing for aluminium, specifically to hold accuracy through a longer firefight than the G36 was ever tested for. Germany's tender opened in 2017. Selection happened in 2021. Full rollout only began in 2025, landing the rifle directly into a doctrinal argument that didn't exist when the program was first written. Can a soldier reliably hit something at the range this battlefield now demands? The accuracy spec came first. The reason it suddenly mattered arrived years later. This is the part of the story where it would be easy to oversell what's happened. The tempting version: drones forced a sweeping rifle revolution across NATO. Clean narrative, good thumbnail, mostly false. Analysts at the Modern War Institute have pushed back hard on exactly this framing. Their argument is specific. Western commentary on drone-era adaptation runs well ahead of the evidence, because NATO militaries, unlike Ukrainian units, have not actually been forced to internalize these lessons through real combat losses. Multinational exercises since the war began have shown that mass drone employment can still tear apart NATO-style formations that haven't genuinely absorbed what Ukraine learned the hard way, on the ground, at cost. Look again at the three programs in this video: the AIW, the L129A2, the G95. Every one of them started years before this war reached its current intensity. Drones didn't write a single one of these requirements. What drones did was simpler and less dramatic than a revolution. They turned a set of quiet, already funded, already specified requirements: better suppression, longer effective range, accuracy that holds under sustained use, from things that sounded like nice improvements into things that read like the difference between a unit that survives contact and one that doesn't. That's a smaller claim than NATO reinvented the rifle. It also happens to be the true one. So here's what this video is actually about. And it was never really about rifles. Procurement decisions get made years before anyone can prove they were necessary. Quietly. In tender documents nobody outside the industry ever reads. Long before the crisis that will eventually justify them has a name. And those decisions are what determine whether an army is ready or isn't when the ground shifts faster than its own planning cycle. Nobody in the Ministry of Defense was writing a suppressor requirement in August 2021 because they'd foreseen FPV drones flooding a European battlefield. They were responding to older lessons about signature management that had nothing to do with Ukraine. But when the threat they hadn't predicted finally arrived, that unglamorous, unrelated decision turned out to be exactly the one the moment required. The militaries that look fastest in a crisis are almost never the ones improvising under fire. They're the ones who happen to make a boring, defensible, hard to justify at the time decision years earlier, and then got lucky enough that the threat eventually matched the bet. Drones didn't choose which rifles armies are carrying right now. They graded the homework that was already turned in.